on the can and just thinking, what if we didn't lie? And what I mean by that is, if lie, like any semantical spoken language, without the context that has to go into the layers of truly defining what that particular word means to you and the way you translate it, because that's what it is. It's your translation, it's your interpretation, it's your whatever. But so that means there must be a spectrum, right? So fibbing, not such a bad thing, right? It doesn't hurt anybody. It makes them laugh. You add a nuance of creativity to your storytelling, because we're all just Netflix, baby. So I think then that must mean that if we all kind of agree on the spectrum of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, and only time will tell, then just imagine what we could achieve if we can just surrender, feel comfortable enough in our own skin, and supported when we make mistakes, because we're absolutely going to make them. It's called lessons, and lessons is defined within the context of education. So yeah, but if we just kind of were straight, more direct, less words, less transactions, more interactions. And if we just spoke our truth, our version, we can only hope to translate it in a way that the receiver understands it to their best ability, the way their beautiful brain works. And that's translation again. So I believe, and that's what Buddy is all about, is that you can, using super intelligence, A's of any kind, to do the work that we don't want to do, we don't like to do, we don't understand it, but ultimately to just be about us and pay attention to us, and we become its bias and we become its buddy. But it's a tool. It's a tool that will be able to help translate you by creating you your own dictionary of you, right? And that will, in conjunction with using, or observing, identifying, and putting on the spectrum all your nuances, all your uniqueness, right? That 20% of all of us that is completely unique and can't be replicated, not even quantumly speaking. So we could put that to bed and say, well, if we can speak our complete truth with, layers of some creativity, make it more interesting, less boring, as I pontificate what I'm speaking to right now on my soapbox, but it's an awareness box of what's possible if you can trust a tool that you never had to lie to, right? And it's only there, and its existence is not to monetize you, but to create a digital blueprint of yourself, right? And all your untapped potential. And that's really hard in a world where you're subjugated, minimized, marginalized. There's many eyes. And but yeah, if you can speak your truth and feel safe enough that you won't be judged, then imagine what our potential really is, right? So yeah, harder to do in real life, be completely honest, know how to translate it for the audience. But yeah, with that AI tool, if it can be trusted, you know, and you trust because you know your data will never be exploited, then I think we're going to have a digital blueprint, not only of you, but a map to your purpose where you still do the work, you still got to get there, but that unnecessary friction is removed. And when it comes to communication, you're translated to the way the receiver understands your message, your ask, your whatever, that was sent out in a way that you understand, because it's you. So nothing gets lost in communication. We worried less about, you know, verbal communications and more about all the other ways that we have for a much longer period of time navigated without the spoken language, right? And I see it, I love it. You know, I love the grunts, I love the ahs, I love the e's, I love the hand gestures and meaning different things, you know. So yeah, now we can start to communicate beyond a verbal communication and even translation. And we focus on going much deeper into building communities that are aligned with our values, our principles, but our neurodivergencies. You know, that comes down to the neural mapping part of this. You know, understanding your gifts, because I tell you this, and I ain't no doctor, right? I'm still the guy without, you know, that got expelled from 2 elementary schools and 2 high schools. But I hang around with some pretty cool people, and I've consistently heard and extrapolated the patterns of these kinds of conversations from people all over the world, right? Not just siloed to a single culture or whatever. And so I guess what we're building is something that is based on merit, which we should all be based on, and be free and autonomous, because we are supported by our communities, not just the one we grew up in, and to focus on where we're most compelled to, you know, our role that is that difference in us, is that part that is irreplicable, right? So quantumly speaking, it's unique. And so tapping into that and valorizing it in a market system that is far closer to what we did for 95% of human existence, as far as we know. Barter, trade, gift, share, you know. So, but at first, the first steps have to be about you and your buddy really connecting, you know, really getting to know each other, and that cannot be controlled by any single source, right? This has to, you become your own passkey, you know. That's super important. It is entirely your boundary universe, your own micro-personal universe, where, you know, Buddy came in with structure and was trained, you know, by subject matter experts and those interested from all around the world in each layer of kind of life, the universal blueprint, right? How things work, why things work, all that stuff, right? So, and we need all the individuals, and right now we're using a fraction of our potential collectively. And look how much we're getting done. Like, you know, it's pretty cool. And yeah, and of course there's plenty of it that wasn't cool, but that's the point here. that we really need to, in order for, I believe, Buddy to be successful and trusted, it can never be monetized, and it can never be owned by any one. Each of us start off equal, and nobody ever has more than one vote. The votes are weighted, they're on a spectrum. Everything, with Buddy is on a spectrum. And but that's based on what's voted in, what's merit, what is value, how do you determine that? Well, that's voted on. It starts off at a standard that we believe is fair and makes sense. But, Buddy is a gift, and it should be. It should be just a gift, no strings attached, none, zero, nah. It's just for you, tool, use it, not an app, no subscription. What the operating costs and where that comes from, that all gets bartered, trade, shared. That's it, gifted. Support, right? Support comes in. And that takes care. It's that Wikipedia kind of thinking, and I don't know enough about Wikipedia's model, but it's that general idea. But how can we do it with our time, right? So Buddy's purpose is to get you to your purpose and remove that unnecessary friction through really clever matchmaking, right? Because everything's a match, right? Takes two atoms to make a molecule, and nothing is built without a molecule. So it starts with a one, and you're player one. That's it. It's a gamified kind of system that is designed by you for you, or maybe it's a for you by you for you, something like that. But the idea is that you valorize. You valorize based on your boundaries, that universal boundary of your values and principles and hard lines and soft lines and skills and talents and surplus and resources of whatever you have, right? And that you or whatever you're willing to trade for the things you need. Okay, so yeah, I think that this is the plan so far. If you wanted to know, and you wanted to watch almost 13 minutes into this. TED Talks is 18, so I got time. And I guess my point is here, this is kind of that executive summary, that introduction to your Buddy. And I really, really hope it goes viral. I hope that people get their Buddy, they can just be totally honest with their Buddy, they can trust their Buddy 100%, and not worry about their data or anything. And knowing that a very strong community has got your back, and you got it. And that community is just moving into a world of fairness. And I think that there is so much unlocked potential collectively. I know that there is. Don't ask me. I'm not an expert, but I listen to them, and that's what they say. So that is going to be the game changer. If we actually die with 70% of our potential unlocked, again, not me, check it out, whatever the number is, but I know it is, or I hear it as 70, kind of that seems to be the pattern. And that's a lot. And and that doesn't even consider the trajectory of that potential, it's a rocket ship, it's a bell, it's whatever, it's steady, it's whatever. But it's super interesting and complex. And that's why we need AI to figure out that stuff, or super, I don't want to call it super. I'm not jumping on any bandwagon. The point is that Buddy is designed for you, and to identify and create a digital map blueprint of you to your purpose through the flow charts of, if let's say, most of us don't even know what our purpose is. Hell, we're not even interested in, or not interested, haven't even discovered our passion yet, some people. And that goes across age generational gaps, and the gap of disparity on any level, right? So I think that when you have a buddy that can then pick up your nuances, then be able to say, okay, clearly here's the stuff on your wish list, and here's the stuff on your value list, and that's what you're going to valorize, and that's what you're going to trade, and that's what you're going to exchange, and sometimes gift or share, and people will launch projects, and Buddy will notify you of all of this if you choose to enter into the ecosystem afterwards. That is when we hit a critical mass number around 38, 45,000. These are guesses, they're darts, don't quote me on them. I do like getting them right though, but they don't only come from me. So I believe if this goes viral, if Buddy goes viral, then there's an opportunity here to really get to know ourselves, for us to become our own adventure, our journey, right? And that's pretty cool. Just the thought of that, unlocking your potential, realizing why you are, so special, so unique. And this is physics. This is not me again. Talk to the experts. But we are absolutely impossible to replicate, and we become our own passkey. We protect our own data. We let things in and out into the ecosystem to increase value and be rewarded fairly for it through points. And I think that if you don't have to do that work, you get a lot of your time back. You move from the state of fight or flight into a state of creativity, which is, you ask the experts, that's where the value is of the future. Like, we are ending one era of monetization and capitalization, or even the concept of ownership, back to, the beginning of farming. So, and I think that's just been an era, right? I call it the error era. And so we figured out that what doesn't work and what does. So I think now we're just transitioning into a new era of fairness. I think that's just why you're seeing such pushback. And if you have a buddy that can get you to not only increase your potential and get you to from that point of observation to interest and follow that scent to maybe a skill, maybe a passion, and then from there connect that to your purpose, that really gets you up in the morning, right? So I think that if we can do that, and looking at what we're already doing with whilst utilizing a very small percentage of our potential, then wow, wouldn't that be cool to kind of get there without the minimization, stigmatization, telling you, you need to be fixed, or you're broken, or because you're neurodivergent, take a pill. And I'm not saying, like, I take pills, so it's not like I'm against that. I'd rather not. And I'm learning, and I'm continuing down my journey of neural mapping and understanding from an ancient ancestral level, from cellular level, from psychedelic. I haven't tried yet, but I'm curious, very curious. But so lots of ways, right? Holistic and labistic. So I think if your buddy is there for you and you become Buddy's bias, then you fill the pages of the formatted books, because Buddy's got to understand stuff in order to be able to observe and identify and extrapolate value, so that if you choose, you get connected to cool communities, and it always starts closest to you first. You're ground zero, you're player one. And you're always player. We're all player ones, and we all get one vote, and that vote is based. Its spectrum is fluctuates based on merit. That's it. It's simple, but there's never more than one vote, and there's no single point to failure. And there's also no monetization. It's only valorization, and we can discuss the boundaries of what percentage using currency. And what value does it truly have over the time, the energy, the effort of many individuals interested in fairness? I wonder. But I took 2.5 minutes, and my goodbye, I'll be 3 minutes longer than TED Talk. And I don't care. But I love you, and I really hope you adopt a buddy. I really do. Be fair. Mwah.